too. So this time of year, again, it's just a lot. There's a lot to deal with. There's a lot of things that come into play when holidays are over. People start, just kind of dealing with the aftermath of everything. So this webinar will kind of go through just different things to help you, different ways that you can kind of structure yourself or restructure yourself to make sure that you know how to deal with it. So some facts about anxiety and depression, and I'm sure everybody has gone through feelings of this at one point or another. But it affects anxiety disorder affects about 3.1% of the US population, which is staggering. I think that is just, it's sad. It's, how do we help people? How do we figure out how to come together and get that number down? Women are 2 times more likely to be affected, which I thought was definitely very interesting. Entrepreneurs are more likely to be affected by mental illness. I think anybody could probably put the puzzle together, as far as that goes. That's it's a big thing to start a business, to have the vision of where you want your business to go and how it is working behind the scenes. And so absolutely, I think that is a very true statement. Of those with anxiety disorders, only a third receive treatment, which I think is so sad. It's there should be more resources for it, but also, figuring out how to deal with it, right? Do you want to medicate? Do you want to not medicate and use other tips and tricks and tools? And so I think that's probably a big part of why only a third receive treatment, quite honestly, because it is something that, I think some people get really scared about medications, and some figure out other ways to deal with it and handle it as well. Major depressive disorder affects 6.7% of Americans 18 years of age and older. Horrible. That is just, I think this speaks volumes for a lot of things. Anxiety and depression can manifest into a variety of physical issues as well. So it doesn't just, hey, it's in my head, I am feeling anxious, I'm feeling, depressed or sad. It's amazing what else it does to your body, to your mind, to your soul, everything. Anxiety, you'll see it there on the screen, both anxiety and depression, and kind of some of the things that includes. So breathing problems and headaches, extreme fatigue. The best part about it, like, reread that. Extreme fatigue accompanied by insomnia at night. How could you be so tired but be so awake at night, and the insomnia keeps you awake, and it's such a horrible cycle for somebody that is constantly tired and fighting that and feeling that the effects of anxiety, but they can't even sleep. You're so tired but you can't sleep. Muscle aches and pains, developing depression. Obviously, it leads into depression. Anxiety most certainly could always lead into depression. Increased blood pressure, heart rate, stomach pains, digestion issues, everything. It can just control and wreck your whole body. Depression, obviously, everything above is included in feeling depressed, and some of the physical issues that can come from depression, but also heart disease, weight gain or weight loss, and worsening chronic health conditions. Chronic is something you cannot get over. There's no fix for chronic. You can fix an acute issue. You can fix something that just pops up and happens and we deal with it. But chronic is something that will last forever. Before we begin, so these are tips to help you manage mild anxiety or help with additional treatment options. These are by no means a quick fix. I think anybody that knows anything about mental illness or mental health issues, there is no quick fix. It's a lifestyle change. It's getting yourself wrapped into, how do I make this change, and how do I make this change going forward? Because it's not just something we can say, hey, stop being depressed, hey, stop being anxious, right? It's something that is definitely dealt with over time. If you are struggling, reach out to your local healthcare provider, a psychiatrist. If necessary, go in immediately and get yourself some help. We have some great resources. I know we do. And so, most certainly reach out if you feel like you're kind of struggling with this right now. And lastly, it's nothing to be embarrassed about. Everybody deals with this kind of stuff at one point or another in their life. It can be situational. It can be something that's constant. But everybody deals with it. There's no embarrassment. There should never, ever be any embarrassment tied to this. it is becoming a more discussed topic, and I'm so glad that it's becoming more discussed because we need to be able to have people understand that it's okay to feel like this, and but you need to get help, and it's okay to get help, and it's okay to make sure you're putting yourself in a better position going forward. So um, definitely not to be embarrassed. So let's talk about some tips on dealing with anxiety. 4 categories to consider when dealing with it: body, mind, fitness, and actionable steps. So ways to take care of your body and health to best manage or subside your anxiety. So the body, what do we do to make sure that we can take care of it? Your mind, ways to understand your anxiety and handle it when it flares up. So what are those triggers? What are things that are causing that to happen? Fitness, obviously. How can you take care of your physical well-being to better help your mental well-being? Fitness, if it's walking, if it's running, if it's going to the gym and lifting weights. There's so many different types of fitness that it could be yoga, it could be anything, just anything to help you feel like you're getting it taken care of and getting it under control. And then just small habits that you can develop to assist your mental health. So sometimes it's just those small things. So definitely, don't take the small things for granted. Tips for the body. So let's talk about what happens to our body. So eat well and balanced meals. So don't skip meals. Don't eat unhealthy snacks. Eat the healthy snacks that boost your energy, that bring something to your body that your body can thrive off of and live off of. Ensure adequate sleep. So again, back a couple slides, we talked about insomnia and how people with anxiety can really sometimes struggle with insomnia as well. So this might seem like easier said than done, but your body does need the additional rest when you're stressed. So figure out different ways. There's apps that you can put on your phone that kind of help um, soothe you and help to bring you down and help to just kind of help to relax you. So try something like that. Try meditation. There are a variety of different ways that you can try and get yourself to get to a place where you can get to sleep. Limit the alcohol and caffeine, especially during these times where you're feeling super anxious or stressed, because it can trigger an anxiety or panic attack, and you don't want that to be something that gets triggered within. And so definitely, look at limiting your alcohol and caffeine intake. And do something to stay active every day. Keeping yourself good or keeping yourself feeling good releases good endorphins, that it releases the feel good chemicals in your brain. But it does definitely, and it seems silly because I know when you feel that down in the dumps feeling, the last thing you want to do is go exercise, right? But stay active, take that walk, push yourself to take that walk, push yourself to go, on that bike ride or anything like that. I mean, any little bit helps. Oops. Tips for the mind. So do your best. Don't strive for perfection. It's impossible. There's nothing and nobody in this world that's perfect. So don't strive for it because you're just going to beat yourself up more and more. It's impossible. So acknowledge those successes that you do have and live on those. Be excited for those. Be happy for those. But don't strive for perfection. Accept you can't control everything. This is such a hard thing. For me personally, I'm such a control freak. I'm such a person that takes everything, and if I can't control it, I feel like I'm losing that control, and I feel like, at that point, everything is spiraling, right? So, list those stressors outside of your control and try to accept that you will not be able to change that. You will not be able to control that because it's amazing how far you can go if you remember you can't control it, right? It's out of my control. It's out of my hands. I can't do anything about it. And once you accept it, you can move on from that. Stay positive. So while it may seem incredibly hard to be positive, it will greatly help in the long run. Find ways to document positivity with gratitude, affirmations, vision boards. I cannot tell you, we have some fantastic clients that are friends as well that are really big into vision boards. They just had a vision board little get together, and words of affirmation and live your life with gratitude and live every day with those great things, those gratitudes, those affirmations, those vision boards. If you've never done a vision board, I would highly, highly encourage it. It's actually kind of liberating to get one done and to post it up and really make that who you are and what you want to manifest in your life. Welcome humor. Listen to comedy, watch your favorite comedy movies, find a way to laugh. It's amazing what laughing can do for the soul. It can, obviously, it kind of takes a lot more energy to frown and be upset than it does to laugh and be happy and positive. And so, you want to kind of save that energy and just find ways to laugh and find ways to be, you know, comedic, whether it's you, whether it's somebody else in your life, but just find that way to welcome that humor. And then really learn about what triggers your anxiety. Understanding what your triggers are can help you avoid them and practice how to handle the unavoidable ones. So we know we can't handle everything in life. We can't control everything that's thrown at us, right? But knowing and understanding what those triggers are and how you can try and avoid getting yourself worked up and into a panic attack or an anxiety attack is going to help you tremendously as you go on. Fitness. So try to maintain daily exercise, even if it's 20 minutes of walking, even if it's 10 minutes of walking. Any walking is better than no walking. I have an Apple Watch, and I am not kidding you. It will remind me all throughout the day to stand. It will remind me that I've not closed my rings. That will remind me that, I'm X amount of steps away from my activity goal or anything like that. And so it's really good. I think you don't have to have an Apple Watch, obviously, but challenge yourself to make sure you're getting out and doing that kind of stuff. If you're sitting in an office all day, take your lunch break and go take a walk. Anything like that, though, that will help to kind of push you forward is amazing. 5 times weekly for 30 minutes, do something to activate and elevate your heart. It's crazy how much that can play such a big part in things. If you are one that finds exercise to be boring, I actually used to be a runner, and anytime I would run outside, I felt like, man, I could run forever, which I couldn't because let's just be honest, I would have fallen over for sure. But and I definitely have my limits. But if somebody said, hey, let's go to the gym and run on the treadmill, I would get on the treadmill and I'd run for 5 minutes, and I'd be like, man, it must be 30 minutes. I must have run a long way. Oh no, just 5 minutes. So it's amazing how changing that scenery can kind of help. So make it fun, make it, go outside and run. What I would do if I couldn't go outside and run and I had to run on a treadmill, I would cover up the time because the worst thing I could do is just sit there and stare at the time because I felt like it was just a snail's pace. But so watch your favorite TV show, put on something on your phone, get some good upbeat, pumpy music so that you can kind of pull yourself into making it fun and not so crazy and ridiculous. Set small goals. So don't go into this thinking, oh, I'm gonna go out and exercise for an hour a day. Because if you're doing nothing now and then you push yourself to an hour, we all know that's not going to work. You'll die off of that really quickly. So set those small goals. Get yourself there, work your way to it, and then start moving that goal, bumping that goal up so that you can hit something first and get in a good stride before you really go full forward. And be patient. Don't expect to be an expert right away. Don't expect to figure out everything in fitness in, the first day that you try this. It takes about 8 weeks to become accustomed to a new exercise. So do not push yourself. Do not push yourself to be perfect in this. Again, going back to that perfection, but be patient. Be patient with yourself. Give yourself time, and push yourself, accordingly, but patiently. Actionable steps. So count to 10. When you're overwhelmed, breathe deeply while counting to 10 and repeat as needed. It's amazing how much this exercise can help calm anybody down. I've been in situations, traffic, which there are times in traffic that I am literally like, how is this lane not moving? And I have to remind myself, take a deep breath. You can't control it. I can't get out of my car and push these guys any faster. So take a deep breath. Take 10 deep breaths. Count to 10. Do whatever you need to do. But find something to focus on that takes you away from what's making you anxious. Take time out when necessary. So practice yoga, practice meditation, figure that out. Like I said, if it's something that you're like, hey, I'm going to meditate every day for 5 minutes. I'm going to start my day with 10 minutes of meditation. I'm going to start my day with, or end my day with 10 minutes of meditation. Whatever it is, practice it. Find time to take a little time out for yourself, whatever it is, self-care, it's all about self-care, right? It's all about taking care of ourselves because we're no good to the people around us if we cannot take care of ourselves. So get that massage that you want, get that facial, find whatever else it is that makes you take some time for yourself, but really then makes you kind of feel recharged after. Give back. Giving back and volunteering gives you a mental break from your stress and releases those feel-good chemicals that we talked about in your brain. So give back, do something. We're not talking monetarily, right? We're talking physically as well. Maybe you go and volunteer somewhere. Maybe you go and take some clothes and donate them somewhere. Anything to kind of make you feel good about what you've done. And it is amazing how much that can release such a good feeling in your brain. Write it down. Many times when anxiety is out of control, it's because your brain is full. So think about, a pot that's about ready to boil over. It's full. That's why it's going to boil over. Your brain is no different. So write it down. Sometimes there are times in my life that things get a little out of control, and I have to start making lists, because if I make lists and write stuff down, I can check it off. And if I check it off, I feel really good. So write things down, empty your brain, decompress, just do something to get it out when you're feeling that feeling of full. And that wraps up our actual presentation here. But if there are any additional questions, if anybody is curious as to, how to manage this, how to take steps to control this in your life, don't hesitate to reach out. Reach out to us. I can get you some great resources. We've got some wonderful clients that actually handle a lot of this kind of stuff. We also have some great nonprofits. If you want to volunteer and give back, reach out. I can most certainly get you in touch with some phenomenal people, phenomenal clients that we have that I'm sure could use some resources in volunteering. And so, reach out and just don't hesitate to find somebody to be that person with you and really kind of help take control and get control back, get that feeling of control back in your life. So I appreciate everybody coming in today. I really do. It's like I said, these webinars, we try to, obviously we want to highlight things throughout them and make them, somewhat pertain to Journey and what we have going on. But we also want to make sure that we're, highlighting other things too. This is not a platform of, hey, they're just trying to sell us something, because we don't want to be that company. But we do want to be, a good resource for people in general. And so I'll go ahead and wrap it up with that. If anybody does have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, we really do appreciate all of you and everything that all of you bring to the table for us, and just the overwhelming support of what we do, but also, give that feeling to your staff as well, because it's amazing how far that goes. So with that, I hope everybody has a great rest of your day, a wonderful rest of your week, an amazing weekend, and we will see you guys here shortly for the next webinar next month. Take care.